What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
The well-liked How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is now complete with How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. But is there a future for How to Train Your Dragon 4? Thanks to its rich stories and stunning animation, the How to Train Your Dragon saga has grown to become one of the most critically acclaimed animated series of all time under the proficient direction of Chris Saunders and Dean DeBlois. From 2010 to 2019, fans of the beloved franchise followed the young Viking named Hiccup, who lives in a world where dragons exist. At first, there is little to no goodwill between humans and their fabled neighbors. However, as Hiccup and the Night Fury Toothless form a strong bond, the rival Viking and dragon societies are changed forever. In the majority of How to Train Your Dragon, Hiccup realizes that he doesn't have to mature into the man that his father and the villagers expect him to be. Instead, he can build his own path and leave a lasting legacy by bringing harmony between humans and dragons. Both How to Train Your Dragon movies received generally favorable reviews from critics and audiences. The first movie grossed $494 million worldwide, and How to Train Your Dragon 2 followed with $621 million. It appears that the latest installment of How to Train Your Dragon will be another success given how well the previous two have done at the global box office. Normal studio procedures would suggest the franchise will continue to exist in an era where IP and franchises rule supreme in Hollywood. But will that really be the case for How to Train Your Dragon 4? The director Dean DeBlois has overseen the entire How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and he has previously stated that the third entry will bring the series to a satisfying conclusion. DeBlois has been outlining this as a strategy for nearly 5 years. He previously started in 2014 that he was successful in convincing DreamWorks not to produce a fourth How to Train Your Dragon film. By the end of the third movie, the stories of Hiccup and Toothless are largely concluded, coming to a satisfying conclusion despite the tears, laughter, loss, journey, and battles along the way. A fourth installment of How to Train Your Dragon seems extremely unlikely. There's still room for spin-offs and reboots in the future. Though, given the franchise's enormous success, the franchise actually had a TV spin-off called DreamWorks Dragons that ran for 2 seasons before ending in 2018. There's also a preschool-oriented web series called Dragons: Rescue Riders on Netflix, and therefore it is reasonable to assume that the franchise still has a long way to go. The current plan does not appear to involve a return of Hiccup and Toothless anytime soon, especially not in 2023. Dean DeBlois appears to be pleased with how his trilogy concludes, and he has yet to express a desire to continue the franchise. The trilogy's ending is still a fitting way to wrap up the tale of Hiccup and Toothless, even with the aforementioned time jump. The development, writing, and production of animated movies requires a lot of time. There were 4 years between the first 2 Dragon movies and 5 between the second and third. So, if the franchise gets greenlit, a similar gap is expected for How to Train Your Dragon 4, implying a very late release date in 2025, at the very least. Before we go any further, we wanted to let you know that it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. Again, if the film is made, it is expected that the same voice actors will reprise their roles. Therefore, Craig Ferguson, Jonah Hill, Jay Baruchel, Gerard Butler, and America Ferrera will appear once more. Since we last saw the children of Astrid and Hiccup, his son, Newfink, and his daughter, Zephyr, are in the 22-minute holiday special How to Train Your Dragon: Homecoming.
That was amazing! I'm so excited I could fly! It's just a show, nothing.
Madeline Gonzalez and Liam Ferguson will reprise their roles as the children of Astrid and Hiccup. Again, this is just speculation at this point, and since The Hidden World was the last film in the series, it is unlikely that any of the actors will return to their roles. Nevertheless, we do hope that all of these rumors will soon be realized.
Oh, is that why you're pouting, big baby boo?
The tightly wrapped bow at the end of the third film gives viewers no reason to think that there will be any space for a main character's extension after How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. The trilogy's heartbreaking conclusion had viewers in tears, but it was the right way to wrap things up. Was the conclusion too heartbreaking? Yes, according to some fans, but the majority believe it was the right course of action for Hiccup to take after parting ways with his friend Toothless. Although it may not seem like it at first, How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World ending is a very happy one. Although the main plot ends with an emotional farewell in which all the dragons depart the new Burke village to live in a hidden world, a jump forward in time removes some of that ending and leaves room for additional stories. With the reunion of Hiccup and Toothless in their more adult forms as the film's official conclusion, How to Train Your Dragon 4 can immediately continue the story's adventures. We embark on an amazing journey with the characters in the trilogy. We get to watch them mature right in front of our eyes. The story begins with Hiccup, Astrid, and the gang as teenagers, and it ends with them becoming strong, kind, and family-oriented adults. After realizing that despite everything they fought for, dragons will never be secure in the human world, Hiccup and Toothless bid each other an emotional farewell. The conclusion also masterfully illustrates why there are no longer any dragons in our world, as Hiccup swears that they'll remain hidden until people are prepared to live in peace alongside them. A 22-minute holiday special called How to Train Your Dragon Homecoming was set 10 years later and continued the story after The Hidden World's epilogue, which was released in December 2019. It depicts Toothless lying on a remote island with Light Fury and their 3 young dragon offspring. We were completely smitten by these adorable babies. They are so adorable, and we're reminded of Toothless when he was younger by their big, beady eyes and mischievous nature. Even 10 years later, Toothless still has many regrets about not being with Hiccup. Even more, he makes a tiny drawing of Hiccup and shows it to his young babies. These 3 little dragon babies are actively very cheeky by sneaking away to look for Hiccup and then landing on Burke Island during the Snoggletog Festival. The dragon babies see Hiccup and recognize him right away, while Hiccup and his friends are using a skit to teach the children about their historical relationship. Hiccup is dressed as Toothless, and as the action begins, a fire breaks out, sending people fleeing in all directions. Hiccup is about to slide down off a cliff when Toothless gets involved amid all the chaos. Hiccup found it almost unbelievable to see Toothless and his family. The children learn that not all dragons are monsters as both of their families interact with one another. The children come to understand that not all dragons are monsters as both of their families get together. Hopefully, this signals the start of something new and that these characters will appear again in a potential 4th movie. And that is why you should smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. Again, if a 4th film in the series is ever released, it would only make sense to pick up where the last one left off and perhaps gives more attention to the stories of the children. The trilogy's satisfying and heartwarming conclusion precludes further exploration though. This, however, doesn't prevent spin-offs. There is plenty of room to explore a variety of fantastic stories with the well-crafted characters in the trilogy. There is definitely room for more stories given that the series is a version of Cressida Cowell's How to Train Your Dragon, a collection of 12 books. We'll see you in the next video.